What's up guys, Ryan here from Mud Gunner, and today I have a cool video to talk to you about. So I wanted to talk to you guys about night vision and thermal, and maybe which one I recommend you guys getting first. Now, this is an expensive subject, I know guys, and I know you guys might already have a lot of different mindsets on it already, but yeah, just hear me out for this video. So the first thing I'm gonna say is if you do not have a flashlight like this, or even just a more basic one, probably not ready for night vision. If you don't have a headlamp, probably not ready for night vision. So I would say get a couple decent flashlights and a headlamp before you even think about night vision or thermal, because this stuff comes in handy way more often. I have used this headlamp so much. I also go out to the desert at night looking for snakes during summer or doing ultra marathons. My girlfriend and I just did a 50K on Saturday, which was a 30-mile race, and we did that all at night. So headlamps are super useful. They don't take a lot of battery, they last a long time. So I'd say the average battery life on these is like 36 to 48 hours on a lower setting. And this could do everything that you really need to do at night for the most part. So camping, looking for stuff, working on your car, in your shed, whatever, headlamps come in super handy. But then also flashlights come in super handy because obviously just being able to see in the dark without pointing a gun, without getting your night vision helmet or your thermal on, it's very important. So that's my first take. You need to have handheld flashlights and a Petzl headlamp, specifically the Petzl. They're like 60 bucks. Get the rechargeable one. And yeah, so I recommend at least 5 flashlights because I put them in bags, bedrooms, cars, just wherever. But once we're past that, let's say you have, flashlights, headlamp, and you're ready to spend some money on night vision or thermal. Now, how much money are we talking? I would say if you are looking for helmet mounted night vision or helmet or handheld thermal, which I have very limited experience with just this one unit, I would say you're probably looking at no less than $2,000 for something used, maybe new, just depending on the brand. There is so many night vision companies out there now, but yeah, I would say there's not a decent way to get into it for sub 2K, just let's be honest. So with that being said, let's say you are really deciding between night vision and thermal. Now, the thermal that I'm holding here, I wanted to talk about this, and what got me thinking about this is I've seen these everywhere now, and they've dropped the price on them significantly. So this time last year, these were $5,000. Now I did not pay $5,000 for it, I did buy it used, and I got a good deal on it. I did pay $3,500 for this used, which a lot of money, but that was a killer deal last year. So this is an iRay RH25. It's a thermal optic. It is helmet. It can be helmet mounted with the right mounts, which I don't have all of them. It can be weapon mounted. It can be handheld. This has a lot of capability in a small package. It records, it takes pictures, has multiple different thermal options. So all the different predator modes, and it is badass. I've been playing with it since December. That's when I got it. And yeah, in December, these were going for $5,000 and they were hard to get. So just in the last 9 months, I have seen a dramatic change on them. They are now selling for $4,000 brand new, which $1,000 drop in a year. That's a pretty big drop, guys. That's a 20% drop. I think that's noticeably big. And then now I'm seeing them used averagely for about $3,500, which that's a good deal. I mean, that was a great deal for me being a gun store employee. So I do think that's a pretty good deal for you guys on the used side. Now it depends on what you're using it for, right? $3,500, that is not a small amount of money. That's a big amount of money. And then mounting it to stuff like helmet mounting it is expensive. So one, you need to buy this mount, which this is probably about $100. Everything night vision and thermal is expensive. But then you need to buy the specific helmet mounted setup for it, which that thing I think is like $1,000. I don't own that. I have just a traditional helmet. So this is a fake Wilcox G24, and you just put your night vision in here and then it puts the tube on each side. Now this mount is similar, but this is not for mounting it in front of you because it doesn't put it in the right spot. It puts this right in the center of your head. So that wouldn't really work. So yeah, with this right here, it's gonna put it right in the square of my head, and it looks like I just have a missile coming off my head. So that's the downside, is even though it can mount to a night vision setup, it's not the proper setup. So you need a bridge that kind of just spreads it out. But then you need a specific night vision mount too, because most night vision mounts, which I have in here, and I'm still learning the terminology, so I might mess up some words. But so most dual tube night vision, you have your 2 tubes, you have the same, I think it's a dovetail mount is what they would call this, I forget exactly, but this mounts in the center, but then it puts the night vision binoculars on each eye, where this, again, this is right in the center, so it would put it right in the middle. So for you to mount this, you would need a mount that puts it on the side, but then you would need some type of PVS-14, something like that, that uses the same style mount, because most do not use that mount. Let's say you have a single PVS-14, it uses a screw-on mount to attach to whatever bridge, or they call them J-arms, that you're running. So yeah, just know that mounting thermal to your helmet setup, one, that's expensive, right? Because I would say you don't want just thermal at that point, you want thermal and a night vision. But yeah, I'd say where this shines for me would be handheld, or eventually I'd like to try it mounted on a gun. I've mounted it to my guns, but I haven't shot with it. One thing with thermal, I mean, I see all the videos of you guys in Texas and wherever else hunting with thermal. That's awesome. Here in Arizona, we can't hunt with thermal or night vision, so just be aware of your local laws, guys. If you're buying it for hunting, at least in Arizona, like I said, it's completely illegal, so you can't use it. So what can I use this for in Arizona? I can look at stuff. That's about it. I think it'd be kind of cool to use it for shooting, because it'll still see a steel target. It'll see paper targets too. So it'll basically show me everything that I can see just in thermal. So I think that'd be kind of fun. It'd be perfectly fine at night or during the day, because that's the one thing. Thermal doesn't really differentiate night versus day. Like if I showed you a thermal clip, you wouldn't be able to tell whether it's night or day unless I tell you. So that's one thing to notate, other than heat in the video. But night vision, just for night. Thermal can be used for night and day. And again, this video is just to talk about the pros and cons of both. So where I see thermal coming into play is absolute just being able to find stuff, identification. One thing with night vision is it is a superpower. It amplifies your ability to see at night, but it does require ambient light, which is a weird thing, right? Like, yes, it sees in the night, but if you don't have a little bit of light, it's hard to see. So I would say, let's say you're in a pitch black building. There's no windows, no lights, no IR sensors, no nothing. You're just in a pitch black building. It's still gonna be pretty dark to see unless you have an IR flashlight, which most night vision setups like these, they have a built-in IR light. So it'll just be a little flashlight that you can only see with night vision coming off the unit. I also have a handheld IR flashlight, and I have this bag as kind of my night vision bag. I wanna find a better way to like store all my stuff, but this is what I have. But this is a Surefire Vampire. So I have the option with this little dial, it's on white light right now, or I pull back, twist it, and now it's on IR light, so it's just an IR flashlight. So if you have night vision on, you can just use an IR handheld flashlight, which is cool. So again, night vision, you do need a little bit of light, where thermal, you don't need any light. You just need batteries and you are set to go. But yeah, if you're looking at it from a shooting standpoint, right? Like, sure, you can have it helmet mounted, you can have it weapon mounted, but then you're constantly pointing it on the weapon at whatever you're aiming at, which if you're just trying to look through thermal, that may not always be ideal. So I like the idea of this as like a handheld. So sure, I could have my night vision set up, but then somewhere on my kit, I would have this as a handheld thermal. Because this thing, I've done videos on it, this can see for hundreds, oh, just dropped my IR flashlight, that's okay. This can see for hundreds or about 1,000+ yards. I have seen, in my video of this, I show you guys vehicles. I think I show you some people at like 500 to 1,000 yards, depending on where we were shooting. Yeah, this thing just can see clear as day, whether it's day or night, and it is awesome. I've done a video, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about thermal here. I do have another unit that's kind of hard to get. They might be more easy to get now, but last year these things were impossible to get to the average person. I just ended up getting a good connection. So this is the Safron Optics One E-Cody, and this is a thermal overlay that attaches to your night vision. Now, that might sound insane, which it is to me. I still can't believe like I can own this, and well, not that I can own this, but that I have this, and it is so much fun to use, guys. But it definitely is a little bit of like, not trial and error, but getting used to the system, because your night vision, you have to adjust to your eyes depending on the distance that you're looking at, whether it's close or far. Same thing with this, you have to adjust the clarity depending on whether you're close or far, and then it has different brightness settings, it has different thermal imaging, so like color sensors, not really like red and orange and yellow like standard thermal, but it has like an outline mode, a patrol mode, just a full thermal mode, so it's pretty cool. I did a video on this, so on my YouTube channel I have a playlist called Night Vision / Thermal, and I did an individual, I've done 2 videos on this one. Again, this is the Safron Optics One E-Cody, but then I did a video on how far the E-Cody can find you, and this thing maxes out at about 200 yards on 2 people at night. We did that test with my buddies. So yeah, that maxed out about 200 yards. This thing at 200 yards, that's like child's play. Like this thing, again, can see up an entire mountain. It's insane. So And then the price of this was a lot more. Like these are about 9 to 10 grand. Again, guys, I know it's a lot of money. I'm not expecting or telling you guys, oh, you should go spend that. So this is not feasible in most situations. I understand that. But just comparing the two, having these two units, it is pretty cool because this one is solely night vision mounted. You can't use it as a handheld. Like it just attaches to your night vision. And it's cool. It's also much lighter. It detaches very easily, just clips on and off. But yeah, expensive unit. Battery life seems to be decent on it. I only have a few range trips with it because I got my night vision and thermal stuff around December of last year. So I haven't had an insane amount of time to play with it. I haven't played with it during summer. I've really just done it during winter. Now that it's getting cooler, I plan on doing more night vision videos for you guys. And now that I have a vehicle to get me out there, it's going to be easier to get this type of content for you guys. So I'm looking forward to it. Basically where I was going when it comes to thermal is I think it's cool for identifying, but I would say for me as a shooter, it's not going to be great shooting wise because yeah, I can dedicate a gun to it, but what realistic uses do I have for it? And I'm not saying that you have to have use, that's fine. But I'm talking what should I recommend to you guys first? This is where I'm going to recommend night vision because night vision does give you a superpower, it gives you the ability to see at night. Now it comes with some things, right? Like this, you can get away with just a handheld. Night vision, you can do handheld, but ideally you're gonna want a helmet mounted. Let me take this out of my crotch. You're gonna want a helmet mounted. This is a spare helmet that I've been building up. I'm trying to have 2 sets so that whether I bring my girlfriend out or have friends out, I do have 2 sets of night vision. And I'm gonna talk to you guys about them briefly. Again, this isn't like a video where I show you guys me using them all, but I do have a couple videos out specifically of the thermal. So these are 2 PVS-14s that are on this little bridge mount. So basically each individual one is its own unit. I can do it as a single PVS-14, but right now it's set up as dual tube. They just screw into this mount. So the pros of having a PVS-14 is one, it's the cheapest way to go for night vision. And specifically this is Gen 2 plus night vision. So it is white phosphor. You're gonna hear Gen 2, Gen 3. Those are the main ones. And then you'll hear white phosphor versus green phosphor. Basically, white gives you a white or bluish tint. Green is just a green tint. You've probably seen it in some type of movie. But these are both white phosphor setups. This one is Gen 3. This one is Gen 2 plus. Looking through them, they look the exact same. They are both crystal clear white. The one thing with this one, so this is an AGM NVG50. It has a little bit of an audible noise, which I don't think I have a battery in there, so it's not going to show you guys. No, it doesn't have a battery. But this has a little bit of a humming noise. Now, I would say you don't even think about it like 5 to 10 minutes into using it. I know that's a complete turn off the second I tell you it has a little bit of a humming noise. This has no humming noise. But now the cons of this is since they are individual units, you have to individually put a battery in, individually focus them to your eyes depending on your distance, and then it is noticeably heavier. Like this whole unit weighs, I think I did the math on this a while ago, this weighs about the same as this with the thermal on there. So yeah, pros and cons. Also, this one takes AA batteries in each one. This one takes a CR123 battery or a AA battery, which is cool. And it's just one in there and one in there, where it's 2 AA batteries, one in each one. So that's the pros and cons of that. But again, it's just much cheaper to get into this. And you can find, like I'm seeing consistent used PVS-14s for sub 2,000 right now. And then the mounts for them are relatively inexpensive. When I first got it, I only had one to start and then ended up getting another. But it's not too bad to use one eye, but once you go 2 eyes, it is kind of the way, unfortunately. But yeah, playing with one, it's completely doable, and I think it's good to practice with it. And again, it's just going to be the cheapest way to get into night vision. You can find them for, I've been seeing them for about $1,500 on the pre-owned market. Now it depends. Again, this is Gen 2 Plus, it's not Gen 3, but this Gen 2 Plus is as clear as my Gen 3s. And this is made by Bearing Optics. It's a company I've never heard of prior to owning this one, but they seem really nice, and I haven't had any issues with them. There's no flakes in there, no nothing. That's another thing with night vision. You could buy really expensive night vision, but you'll see little black specks in there. I don't know the whole process of how they're made, but that's part of it. But yeah, there are zero like flakes or specks in the tubes at all, and they work really well. So I like this, and again, basically what I'm trying to do with this setup is build a secondary setup for if I let like friends or my girlfriend borrow night vision setup, but this just pops right on there. Now you have night vision. Other thing with night vision is building the helmet behind it. That I'm still learning the process. My main one is right here. So you can see I added like a little helmet scrim. This is the Augmento Gen 2 from, what is the company's name? Low Pro Apparel. But yeah, this is just a helmet cover. And then how I have this set up is I mainly run this night vision with it. So So that'll pop on there. I can throw it down. And how I'm building this helmet is I do have a white light on here. It's got a Surefire light. It's got spare batteries. It's got the IR helmet mounted light, which right now it's on IR. So if I push this down, so now it's visible. So I can set it to visible or IR, which is cool. And I'm basically just trying to build this out so that if I go do night vision courses, if I build up a group of guys to do night vision shoots with, I'm basically all set up with this one. And then I'm trying to build a secondary setup for like the purpose of, again, like letting someone else use it. I've had friends that let me use it. So I want to be able to return the favor with future people I go shoot with. So yeah. And then one thing with night vision is counterweights. Because you have so much weight on the front, it's kind of like painful for your neck. So having some weights on the back, you just kind of build it up around you. But the longest I've shot with this on right now is about 2 hours. And like 2 hours in, it's like, okay, it's starting to get uncomfortable, but it's not too bad. I have this idea because I do mud runs, marathons, ultra marathons, stuff like that. I want to do a night vision 5K with like a group of friends where all we do is we just put our night vision on and we do a 5K, which is 3 miles. Now I know in the military, whatever, you guys probably do that all the time. Sure, but I'm a civilian, I've never done that. So I like the idea of doing that, just a night vision 5K. I can get fancy with it too, maybe get some stickers made for friends that do it with me. If that seems like a cool idea, let me know what you guys think. And maybe I could do a public night vision 5K here in Arizona. So yeah, that's the plan. And we wouldn't be shooting, it would just be doing 3 miles with your night vision on. But yeah, I think for the purpose of, let's say you buy one to start, I would say night vision is probably the more practical way because you can shoot with it much easier. Once you have the helmet set up, it is basically ready to go. Like you could function with this to start and it's just gonna be a little uncomfortable, but you can probably jerry rig some weights on there. You guys can get pretty creative with a lot of stuff. This piece on here, this is just a ballistic panel to bring this up to like level 3+. This is a hard-headed veterans helmet. And then this is a Velocity Systems slap, I forget what they call it, but it just adds ballistic capability to the helmet itself because this is actual like helmet armor. It's not a bump helmet, which is non-ballistic. It will not stop a bullet. This will stop a bullet, relatively speaking. But yeah, that's the point. So once you have a basic helmet and then your night vision, you're ready to go. So I think night vision would probably be the first thing that I recommend just because I think it's more practical from a shooting standpoint, from a civil unrest standpoint. You're probably going to shoot with this more, and then you can build up the gun behind it. Other downside with anything like this, again, if you do the thermal, you probably are going to build a dedicated thermal gun. If you're doing night vision, you're going to do kind of a dedicated night vision gun because then it comes down to what optic are you going to use? Are you going to use something that you can look through with your night vision? Are you going to do a laser setup and an IR light on your gun? It kind of becomes a lot. So even though night vision and thermal are relatively less expensive this year than they were last year, it is still going to get up there in price by the time you guys set it up. So yeah, I think the more practical thing to start with is the night vision. And then you can even there are standalone thermal optics that just go on guns. They're not handheld thermal. They are just specifically thermal mounted optics. And I think those could be cool too. I just don't have any experience with those. Again, with this, all I've done, I took this to the zoo when I was looking at animals through it. It was pretty cool. I've taken this out camping and looked at stuff, and it's pretty cool. Taking it out shooting. It's very cool to look through, and I've gotten some really cool footage. But I've never shot with it yet because, again, we can't hunt in here. I don't have a gun dedicated to just set this up on. So, yeah, night vision, I have actually shot with the night vision. It's fun. It gets a little interesting because you can't, like, look down and, you know, do anything with your kit. You're just going off of muscle memory, which is doable, and I want to get better at it this winter. So yeah, I would say my main point of this video, again, just talking about it, I think night vision is a better starting point. And the one interesting thing, so if you guys remember COVID, everything skyrocketed. Night vision was part of that. Like I didn't own night vision at that time, but I saw there was like a back order of night vision. Like it was hard to get, you're paying top dollar. Right now, kind of with guns and with everything else, it's not a prioritized item. Like obviously it's still selling, but you have so many more companies on the market now. You have so much more out there available. Like it's starting to come into our store used more often. So yeah, night vision is becoming as common as, maybe not as common as guns, but like it's getting as common as suppressors, I would say. And suppressors are getting more common because the wait times are so fast. But like those are like up in price right now, or you would pay more MSRP right now than you would last year when, you know, they were a lot slower. I see that with night vision, and night vision, it looks like it goes up during civil unrest time. So I would recommend getting it when you're able to. You know, don't go bankrupt over it, but I do think it is a good investment as long as you're going to shoot at night. If you're never going to shoot at night, then maybe it's not a good investment. But I do like owning it, and I like just building up my kit to the point where I can shoot proficiently at night, get a group of guys to train with, and I want to go take some night vision courses by, you know, instructors, training groups, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. So that's what I want to leave you guys with today. Again, if you don't have decent ways of just illuminating the night, probably not ready for night vision. But when you get to that point, I think it's a lot of fun. You can join some cool shooting groups, and yeah, I think it's worth it, guys. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for my next video.